today as we explore when childhood becomes survival, how trauma shapes the child's brain, body, and spirit. Childhood should be a time of safety, imagination, and trust. But for many children exposed to emotional volatility, chronic stress, or inconsistent care, it becomes something else. It becomes survival. Trauma is not always the result of a single event. It is often relational and ongoing. It is not just about what happens to a child, but what they are left to hold alone when their emotions are disregarded, when their voice goes unheard, and when their basic need for respect and predictability is denied. Science shows that a child's brain is shaped by relationships. Loving, safe, and present caregiving supports healthy brain development. On the other hand, exposure to constant stress, mocking, emotional shutdowns, or invalidation can reshape the way a child experiences the world and themselves. A child's nervous system is highly sensitive. Repeated exposure to stress can trigger fight, flight, or freeze responses. Some children shut down completely, others become overly alert to perceived danger. These reactions can affect their speech, sleep, digestion, and overall emotional regulation. The body begins to live as if danger is always around the corner. I've come to understand the nervous system as more than just biology through my sound therapy experience. It is the divine communication network between the soul and the body. It is through this system that children receive not just signals of fear, but also of love, of peace, and presence. When this system is overloaded, it becomes harder for the spirit to feel at home in the body. The temple becomes guarded and the gates are closed. Be still and know that I am the Lord. But how can a child be still when their world never feels safe? The hippocampus, which helps with memory and learning, is deeply affected by stress. When a child is under chronic emotional pressure, their ability to recall safe, nourishing experiences can be diminishing. The hippocampus is like a priest in the temple, safeguarding memory and identity. If that priest is overwhelmed, the child might lose their sense of continuity and safety within themselves. I reflect often on this. The memory center of the brain is not only about remembering facts, but remembering who we are. When that is disrupted, a child might forget their worth, their voice, and their place in love. Sacred anatomy teaches that within the body are gates, portals of awareness, where the divine meets the human. The hippocampus is one such place, a keeper of memory, not just of this life, but also of spiritual truth. If this part is shaped in fear, the child may begin to expect suffering instead of belonging. The reward system, which helps children seek out joy and connection, can become dull. When a child is repeatedly dismissed, made fun of, or left waiting in anxiety, they may begin to believe that relationships are unsafe or unreliable. Even good moments might feel uncertain. Joy becomes something they hesitate to trust. It is important to remember that children absorb energy, presence, tone, and rhythm, and not just the words we speak. In the early years, especially, they learn by imitation. How we speak, how we move, how we handle conflict. All of this gets woven into a child's developing sense of self. If the environment around them is unpredictable or emotionally charged, the child internalizes that atmosphere. The adult's unresolved pain, if acknowledged, can quietly pass on to the child like a shadow. When a parent refuses to take responsibility for how their actions affect the child, and instead blames others or makes light of the child's pain, this creates deep confusion. The child begins to question their own feelings. They wonder if the hurt is real. Over time, this undermines their trust in their own emotions and in others. Even after parents separate, these patterns can continue. A parent who uses emotional control, denial, or manipulation creates an environment where the child feels they have no voice. When systems fail to recognize this and force the child into contact that feels unsafe, the effects can be so profound. You see it in their quietness, in the tummy aches they extend for weeks and weeks, in the tension in their shoulders, in the way their voice falters when they're trying to speak truth. To the caregivers going through this, who are told they are just imagining things, who are trying to protect a child whose pain is invisible to the outside world, remember that you are not alone. Your child's distress is not an overreaction, it is a signal, and your instincts matter. Children do not need perfection, but they do need safety. They need consistency, presence, and a voice that reflects their reality and not rejects them. Healing is possible. The nervous system can settle. The brain can grow in new ways, but this doesn't happen through pressure or denial. It happens through trust, time, and compassion. I believe parenting is not about raising a child, it is about being entrusted with a soul. For our bodies are temples and children live in them with such vulnerability. The spirit of the child must feel welcome and held. Start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not return from it. When we create space for stillness, connection, and protection, we make room for the presence of peace. All your children shall be taught by the Lord, and great shall be the peace of your children. So let us hold on to the truth that children are a heritage from the Lord, the fruit of the womb a reward. To care for a child is to be entrusted with something holy. Let us rise to that with humility, with strength and love. And may every nervous system, every memory center, every quiet cry for safety be met with the answer of compassion. And so it is.